I invite Her Excellency Anna Hällerman, Ambassador of Sweden to Romania. She is new to Romania, so she just came here. So first of all, thank you so much for joining us. And I know you didn't have much time to visit Romania or to find out about a lot of things about Romania. So I would like to ask you first of all about Sweden. And what do you think that are the main lessons? Because Sweden, if we look at the production, it has almost a perfect mix in terms of energy productions with hydropower, with renewables, nuclear. So it managed to have a very good balance. Romania is striving to achieve that. So what are the main lessons that you think Romania could learn from Sweden in terms of energy?
Thank you. Bună dimineața, mulțumesc. That will be my Romanian contribution today, and I hope to next time be able to continue more in Romanian. So first to say that I'm very happy to be here in Romania. It is very interesting times to be in Romania. I think if I sort of start, we are generalists. So if I start to think of the sort of green transition and the power shift, there are sort of three things that comes to mind. One is we want a sustainable future for our kids. A second one is that we want to ensure the competitiveness of our economies and the prosperity of our societies. And as the ambassador Ambassador Kavalek also mentioned, we also want to be able to make independent policy choices, which the war in the full-scale aggression in Ukraine has sort of emphasized even more. So I think it's important to remember that it's all three of those. You mentioned the Swedish energy mix, and in a way it is actually quite similar to the Romanian energy mix. I think if I should share a few things from the Swedish experience, it is that you can make the green transition and increase prosperity. We have, since the 1990s, we have cut our emission by almost 40%, and we have also doubled our economy. And this requires a few things. It requires fossil fuel electricity at competitive prices. It requires conditions for technological development, and it somehow also requires public support. And we have tried to achieve this by, as was mentioned by all the previous speakers, to have ambitious but also long-term and predictable goals. To also have clear incentives for investors, for business, but also consumers, and also involving local communities in sort of making this shift. And as a final point there, I think it's somewhere where we need to sort of go hand in hand. We policymakers need to work with future-oriented investment, brave business leaders, and also have demanding customers to push for the shift.
Because I don't know, Romania does have quite a similar, the shares are a bit different, but Romania does quite have a similar energy mix to Sweden. But the question about the grid and balancing the grid is one of the big topics, as we heard from the minister. Do you have any insight on how Sweden, I know you're not an expert, but maybe you asked your people, how did Sweden manage to balance that?
Well, I don't have the magic answer. This is one of the sort of key questions, but we are working on the same challenge in Sweden. We have our main electricity production is up north, and we have sort of the populated centers in the south. And we need to find new solutions for sun and wind. We have several startups that are present here also today, working on smart grid solutions to balance supply and demand, but also to allow grid operators to call on flexible powers. And we are also working, and I think we touched upon that a lot, on sort of cross-border energy cooperation in our region. And I think there is also a particularly interesting part for Romania, given also the geopolitical situation, what that could actually mean, not only for energy supply and economy, but also for the political development in this region.
Because you mentioned some of the companies who are present here, is there interest among the Swedish companies to come to Romania and invest in the energy sector, in the renewable sector, and what's their feedback?
Well, it's very easy to answer. The short answer is yes. There are many companies both eager and willing to partner in the green transition. As ambassador here, that is one of my key priorities, to sort of support Swedish businesses that want to invest here. I mean, we have already discussed this, but the conditions are great in Romania. There is wind, there is solar, there is nuclear, there is commitment from the government, there is a lot of access to funds. And it has already been mentioned by previous speakers that it is also key for investors to have predictable legislation, clear rules, to collaborate closely with authorities. And then I think it's also interesting, and that has been one of our experiences, to work on the sort of public-private partnership.
Yeah, do you think, is this something that the companies mention as being a key, I don't know, maybe not a hurdle, but a key challenge to investing here?
I think that all the conditions are there, and there is good cooperation with the authorities. There are, legislation in place, and these are the things that they sort of underline as key aspects to have these long-term possibilities to invest.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. It was lovely to have you.
Mulțumesc.
Acum o să revin la limba română. Thank you so much. Thank you.